Karada, and then we went to different place, and then we moved to another place, and finally we end up in an area pretty good. We rent a nice house. Most houses, they were open to the area, but that one was kind of blocked, just like an apartment.
What
And,
kind of a house did you live in?
European style, because it's not open to the sky.
All houses were attached from three sides, and there was no windows to the front because they were afraid of thieves. So the wall in the front, and maybe a small balcony, like a cage to see to the lane. The lane was narrow, the streets unpaved, twisted, and in the house was a big courtyard, and the bedroom used to face the courtyard. So our house was like 3 bedrooms on the second floor, which we were 12 people. 8 children, my parents and my grandmother lived with us. And we had also a maid, a helper.
I remember your grandmother. She knew the Bible by heart.
Yeah, that's right.
She could read it.
That my grandmother from mother's side, my grandmother father's side, she was illiterate. Never had the chance to go to school, and so my mother was illiterate. She never went to school. She got married at 12. And that was the culture. And as I said, ours was Jewish quarter, where we go to the school and the shop, the butcher, the baker, the sweet shop was all around where we went.
We were happy to live together, with the Muslims. But from time to time, government changes and they try to gain popularity. They start to pick up on the Jews as a scapegoat. We have Muslim friends just from the neighborhood, but never come to visit us or visit them. Because if they have daughters and wives, only the woman can visit. They used to hide their faces. I don't know their faces. They go in and out, it's all covered with their veils. My father, he was a clerk in the railroad. The railroad was run by the British. And that time he knew a little bit English, and he managed to get a job. But then the government took over. He worked at least 25 years. And then one day he came to work. It was a time when they were aiming to hurt the Jews. And he came there, and they told him, "You are out." They gave him his saving, and he came home. And I see him start crying. I said, "Daddy, why are you crying?" He says, nothing. And then I find out that they fire him from the job.
Just because he was Jewish?
Just because Jewish.
So he worked with Muslims, Jews, they all worked together?
They work together, but some of them, if they know any Jewish person, they try to extort money or some benefit from the situation. Yeah, by threaten them by they can do this, they can do that. But otherwise, we was living really good. Even lately, they start to have their own clubs. They have a club where my father belonged. He used to come in the evening to go there. And other Jewish people. And they were all Jewish. No Muslim was member of these clubs. They don't know, they say it might ease up because it's happened before through the history. Those days they come and go fast.
To comment on the background of the treatment, first of all, the general Muslim were friendly with the Jews. My father was a merchant. He dealt with Muslim merchants. But it take one Muslim to threaten my life, the life of my father, that makes everything bitter and anger. When he says, look, don't ask me when I pay you, and ever you do that to the government, you know what happened to you and your family. So there's the odd one. Majority were decent, but there are the odd one, the few ones that were bad. These are the ones that left the memories in the Jewish life. And as Edward was saying about the background, back in 1941, there was a pro-Nazi coup in Baghdad. And that pro-Nazi coup was defeated. The king escaped and the region. And that coup was defeated a month after when the British came in. But the British didn't enter Baghdad for 2 days, so there was a vacuum because the coup leader escaped. And then there was the Muslim went into the Jewish neighborhood. They robbed the houses and they raped women. They killed about, according to the government, 180 people, but records differently. And if you Google Farhud, F-A-R-H-U-D, and Wikipedia, you'll see the mass grave there and tell you the details about this, the Islamic Farhud of this. This is what he's referring later in 1947 and 48, you know, the memories, because 41, there was nowhere to go. We were there, that's it. But in 48, when Israel was established, there were where to escape, so that's where Edward and I left and smuggled out. That's where he said how the history were afraid.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Olivia, my wife, her father has a British subject, and he was educated in India. So after that Farhud, she seized the opportunity and they left the whole family. School life is okay. Started with the Jewish school. First grade, second grade, and we kept going till high school. Their high school was imposed by the British, and they were very, very high in equality and demand for knowing things. And that's why their high school is almost equivalent to college degree here.
So did men and women both have a...
No, we were a boys' school, no girls' school. Girls' school was not even existent, but there were 3 different schools.
In some high school, they allowed few girls. Like in Shamash school I went, but it was all separated, men and women, whether it's Jewish or Arab school. And they really maintained a high quality standard.
All Jewish only. One teaching the Arabic language, and the other one was teaching the English language, and the other one was teaching in French. They used to call it Alliance, which is very famous. In one book, they have my picture in the soccer team. We used to call it football. I was about 18. By that time, I was rebellion because they don't want to give me money to escape.
So your parents didn't want you to escape because they were afraid.
We might not see us anymore.
They were afraid that you might be in danger. They wouldn't
Yeah.
see you anymore
Yeah,
because they loved you.
between all these Muslims. And I was to do it myself.
Did you finish high school, Eddie?
Yeah, I finished just my diploma. I still have it here. It was the time when they gave it to us. It was around end of 48. in the middle of 48.
Yeah, June.
48, 49, and they impose some taxes. And the way they collect the taxes, we have to buy stamps,
They put stamps
and they
on.
stick it on the certificate. It was a big amount, so I had to pay that amount to get this diploma. And that diploma helped me to accept it in one of the colleges in Montreal.
Tell her about the summers in Baghdad, how summers
Baghdad is sitting by the river Tiger,
Tigris.
cross
Tigris.
Tigris. And when summer comes, the water goes down and few islands start to pop up in the river, and we used to go in the evening there, especially in the night where the moon is big and full, and sing and drink and make barbecue fish.
the famous dish in Baghdad, they call it samak masgoof, barbecued fish.
They have a special way to do it.
Yeah,
I find out here in Washington State, they do the same thing when they camp outside.
they cut the fish from the back, it's open, then they make slits, and they have sticks in the sand or in the ground, and they make a fire, opposite the wind, so the fire can blow on them to cook them. Then after they're cooked, we take the fish, put it on the fire, and then they slice tomatoes, onion on the fire, plus sprinkled of curry. It's a dish to die for.
So let's talk about the escape from Iraq. Were you forced out, or did you leave willingly?
Well, that's a big story and big discussion in Iraq. Some of them, they say the Israel bribed some people to throw bombs in the synagogue. Some, they say the Muslims, they were throwing the bombs. And at the same time, it was negotiation between the government and the leader of the Jewish community to people to register, to be able to fly to go to Israel, which is the Muslim, they know they're going to be soldiers against them. Finally, the big amount registered, but wasn't enough to pass the law. Then when throw the bombs, more people start to register, and almost everyone was registered to leave. After they register, the government issue a law. Everybody is registered, that means he's giving up his citizenship, and he's not entitled to take any money or sell their capital, their houses, or their wealth was all taken by the government.
So you lost everything.
Yeah, one of them, Olivia's father, has a safety deposit box with lots of money with his brother.
So you lost it all.
When he asked him, he told them, I'm British subject. You can't impose the law on me. Then they told him, but the safety deposit box is shared with your brother. Your brother is not British subject, so we take it.
So they took
And
everything.
then I have letters from the American government asking them to return the money. And the case is still standing.
I mean, once the law allowed the Jews to leave officially, if I track back how we smuggled before till 1950, they wouldn't allow Jews to leave.
Why wouldn't they allow the Jews to leave?
Because they
leave
wanted
legally.
the money.
They wanted their money.
Yeah. And
They were hostages.
we were hard, same as in Farhud, we couldn't allow to leave. So we smuggled out. In fact, Edward and me, we smuggled the same method. We took the train from Baghdad to Basra, and from Basra we smuggled to Iran, and in Israel sent planes. You know, I remember the plane was all wooden benches, there was no seat belts, we had no luggage, and we flew from Tehran to Israel.
Was it dangerous?
It was dangerous because
Danger
they
would be
flew
when
over
we
Turkey.
smuggled.
They flew over Turkey.
They wouldn't allow them to go over Syria, to go to Turkey. And
Over Syria, over Iraq too, they have to go.
they will not allow them.
From here to Iran, you gotta go over Iraq.
So you
What
didn't-
happened if you had to make a stop in Iraq? You will be taken away to the jail. The police boat came and tried to stop the boat we were in, and they asked us to get to the shore. And we were so packed inside that I have no blood in my legs. So I'm trying to get up from the boat. The police won't find me. I fell 3 times on my face, and I tried to get up and walk till the blood started to circulate. And then the police came, they didn't find nobody, and then we went back to the boat, and because of that, the tide was different, so we couldn't cross the small canals in that area. And then we managed, they bring some planks and something, and we cross and we get to, and then we escape. Somebody took us to one of the synagogues, and they give us such a delicious meal.
The Jewish community was very, very generous to us. When we arrived, they gave us shelter, their homes, and food, and clothing, what we needed.
Till we managed to get to
Tehran, the capital,
the Iran capital,
where we got the
and
planes.
then fly over Turkey to Israel, which was February 2nd.
At the time, in 1948, after Israel was established, there was a new law that was to any Jews accused of Zionism, the punishment, they could be even jailed, tortured, or even hanged. They hanged some people. One very prominent merchant called Shafiq Adas. He was very close to the king and the ministers, but they hanged him just to show that they are now against Zionism. So if you are smuggling out and being captured by the police, so whatever destiny could happen, you don't know what will happen. They could be arrested, go to jail, tortured, or they make you sign a document that you are a spy, a Zionist. And in fact, in '69, although they hanged 9 Jews accused of being Zionist spies, and they declared the days as national holidays. Schools, offices were closed, and some 500,000 people attended. You know, imagine they're having barbecues and celebrating. They take the kids from school to show them, to celebrate, to see 9 Jews hanging in the public square. So the danger that Edward was talking and I was, when we were smuggling, the fear to be caught. The secret police were looking for anybody who was smuggling. But to our luck, we made it. I stayed 2 months. He went right through. I stayed 2 months to help others. But then we went back to Israel.
You stayed 2 months in Iran.
I stayed 2 months in Iran to help because some others smuggling different routes to assist them over the mountain. And,
We were 120,000 Jews,
Oh,
the
yeah.
community in Iraq, most of them in Baghdad.
No,
I left in December '49. I get to Israel by February.
Well, first we arrived to what they call the
Haifa Shar Aliyah,
where the entrance, as all immigrants come from all over.
the door of immigration there. It was the camps of the British.
And from there they send you to different refugee camps.
And they left the camps open forever for the government who is in control.
Yeah, we stood in line for food. We stayed in tents anchored to the sand with steel beds. We had no light. The toilet was a shack there. There's a hole in the ground. The shower was dripping.
The
And
shower.
we stood in line with food.
The shower is funny. When you take a shower in the night, the water is cold. You try to take shower in the daytime, the water is very hot because the pipe running over the ground,
sun.
and the sun makes it boil.
And the food was strange to us. We never knew about salami. We never tasted salami in Baghdad.
On the herring,
We never ate cow's meat. Only lamb and the cow's meat for the poor. But with
for the Christian.
So there were a lot of people at the camps.
Oh yeah, from other Arab countries too.
From Egypt, yeah.
Egypt, from other
Yemen, they came before us.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
about 6 months before us.
Once it's established, they brought all kinds of
They take
refugees.
them by
that-
plane from Yemen to Israel. We felt this discrimination because the Jews from Europe, they gave them good jobs and this, which I don't blame them. Maybe they suffer more than us. They deserve it. They were coming from concentration camps.
The founders of Israel were
Were.
basically Europeans.
European Jews.
And those European Jews, they came in, they spoke the same language, they had the same backgrounds. I personally didn't feel the discrimination. From the refugee camp, I went to a kibbutz. I stayed there for 3 weeks. I couldn't stand it. It's actually an ideal life for somebody who doesn't care, because they give you food, they give you shelter, they give you education. You have no money. The kibbutz is a community. They owned everything, but they own nothing. The single people, they have
Nothing tangible.
He got everything there what he wanted. You do some work, they assign you go to work here, go to work there. They take care of you health-wise, they take care of everything. But for me, it was, my mind stopped thinking. I had no worries anymore. Nothing to think about, nothing to, I'm going to do the same thing and I'm happy. So I didn't last. I worked, then I went to the army. I joined the Navy, the Israeli Navy. I was lucky they sent me to the Navy because they don't tell you. They send you for 3 months of rigorous training, and then they assign you to a different place. Where were you assigned?
They sent me to the school.
No, but where did you
in
serve?
the Air Force
Yeah.
as an electrician.
I would say that it's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, because I was spoiled, like rebellious, but in the army, I grew up to be a grown-up, a man, responsible. They no fun, no concept, they call it, no tricks. You graduate, when you finish the army, you are really become. The best recommendation that I can send an American kids is to go to the Israeli army. They really know about life. No more this fancy dreams and about how life. It was difficult.
So did you have to fight in the Israeli?
In the Navy, I didn't have to fight. I was on the boat, and I ended up serving in the garage there.
I had to fight in 1956. I was just working on my paper to go to Canada.
The Sinai war started in September '56.
Yeah.
So you served in the
I served
Sinai.
not on the Sinai. I was assigned with my group to the border with Jordan, and we didn't get into a fight. But I was ready. First thing I did, I shaved my head the way it is now, because it was hard to take care of your hair. The first thing we arrived, we dug a hole on the ground, cover tent, 12 inches, cover with a tent, so you sneak like a dog inside, and this way you have just a little space overhead. And we used to go out at night for training, in case they're gonna attack us, because they thought maybe they will respond, the Syrian or the Jordanian, but they didn't respond. Then after that, what war came? The Yom Kippur War.
In 73. But you came to Canada. I left in 56, and you wanted to come to Canada.
Yeah, I came after that. I get my paper.
So what were the early days in Israel like? Must have been a lot of chaos with people coming in from the concentration camps, and Jews from all over the
when my
world.
parents arrived with my other two brothers, the youngest one, we were living in a shack, which the walls made from 2 layers of tent canvas. I mean, no brick, no siding, no nothing. And we have to walk a distance to the bathroom, and outdoor showers. The water is hot in the day and cold in the winter and at night. We lived about 2.5 years. Then they gave us a concrete houses with no doors inside.
I don't know if you call it life is chaotic, but it's very difficult.
It was
very, very hard. Everything was
hard
so
for
organized.
the government too
Yeah, I mean,
to supply everything.
there was no food. There was no. At that time, the agriculture was not sufficient for the. It doubled its population in a short 2 years or 3 years. It doubled.
So how did people feel? Were they, the people who survived the concentration camps, were they happy that they survived, or were they still extremely feeling
Yeah, they're happy they survived.
depressed
but then,
and
Well, because there is nothing. If there is nothing,
it's very, very
you
difficult.
can
times.
divide the pie. When it is too small, there's too many waiting for it.
Yeah.
But they did a good job to manage to reach this point where they are now.
Oh, it's amazing. On a cute note, I wasn't serving in the Navy. My camp was in Haifa and Bat Galim, and I was working in the garage. After the garage, we dressed in civilian clothes and we went walking in Haifa, in downtown Haifa, and I see a lineup. What is it? They're selling kebab. Now at the time, the ration 400 gram, half a pound of meat per month, per person. When you see a kebab, you never tasted the food. So we stood in line, I enjoyed, I bought a kebab. I went to tell my friends in the camp to go back tomorrow to have a kebab. They go, what kebab, what line, everything was nothing. So I said, what happened? Apparently, the police found out that they have cat skin in the back. So he was cutting cat and making kebab from the meat. So at the time, we're happy to eat it. There was no question that we're going to go back. That one.
No, the bridges is cut.
Yeah, when there was one thing,
We destroy
you
our
know
bridges.
that there's no hope to come back.
To go back to Iraq.
To go back
I
to
mean,
Iraq.
if somebody asks you,
Yeah.
And
you
the
don't like
worst-
it, we can take you back to Baghdad. Say no, thank you
Never.
very much.
Never. And that is an important thing between the refugees of the Palestinian and the Arab refugees and the Arab refugees. Because the Palestinians were hoping to come back. So they're staying in camps, being fed by the United Nations. This is our future. We're going to do our best. We're going to build our lives.
We don't need hope to go back.
Yeah, so-
Because we don't want to go
And
back.
that's what makes us excel, work hard to achieve where we are.
I remember visiting Israel, and I found that the Israeli population a lot of those survivors were very tough. They were rough, tough people because of the conditions they had lived under. I found it very, that the population was very, they were rattled as human beings.
Wow.
They didn't have the softness and the gentleness that the American public has. They don't have that comfort zone. They came from a hell.
So did anyone stay in Israel, or all the Jews left?
I met a few of them in Israel lately when I was traveling there, and their Arabic is the same way the Muslim they speak.
Dialect,
Dialect. They don't have that Jewish
Judeo-Arabic.
Judeo-Arabic because they get so much mixed up with the Muslim.
I mean, you have few thousand there.
And now there is nothing.
So it's better to leave earlier than later.
Now, if you look at it, the way people living in Israel, it would be economically is good. You can live well. You can, but I don't want to go back because I don't want. I mean, it's a very, very bad feeling when you think about it. Because you love Israel, you love them to succeed, you love them to have peace, but in the same time, and you don't want to go through all these horrible situations coming from time to time, killing people with knives.
Yeah, the opportunity was very little, very hard at that time. This was one of the things.
From within the population, your opportunity is
Was
okay.
limited.
It's okay now. So I feel good that I left because I can see my children, they live peacefully here.
Yeah, life was limited and tough. I left to study, hopefully that I can do something, but then once I established myself, I stayed. And I continue to have my spiritual connection with Israel. My brother with family was there, so we all went there. And as far as back to the Iraqi Jews, there was, again, a unique to the Iraqi Jews versus the other Arab Jews from other country. In 2003, when America invaded Iraq, a group called Alpha Unit were looking for the WMD. So they went to the secret police headquarters. When they went down in the basement, there was water, and there were a trove of Iraqi Jewish archives, Sefer Torah, books, you know. So immediately some of them, they realized this is a Jewish archives. So they took it with the American permission. They all brought it with the frozen containers. They brought it to Washington. They dried it. They spent $3 million, and then they dry everything, and they have the exhibited, which exhibited across the country. And we saw it. Ruby and I went to Los Angeles, Yorba Belinda, was exposed in Washington, New York, and it's now on the internet. Jewish archives, artifacts, and the government, Iraqi government, wanted to take it back. It says this is part of their culture. But then many of us Jews wrote and they stopped it, and it's on the internet, all digital, Iraqi Jewish archives. And this is the only history of Arab Jews that became alive because of that incident of the 203, that they found all this. We're lucky, we're fortunate that we got out. Imagine now what's happening in Iraq with Christians and other minorities. It's untold stories of misery and killing, rape, and even with regular people, Muslims.
Between them.
It's unbelievable. We're really fortunate to where we are. our children are prospering. We'll be happy to see them, the grandchildren.
What kind of things do you want to tell your grandchildren when they grow up, and your grandchildren's grandchildren, and your ancestors?
They should always love Israel, and they should always support Israel, because they are keeping their heritage, they're keeping their tradition, and if they feel like living there, it's okay.
I would like to get them involved, not only in Israel, but to involved in the Jewish life, to study about the Jewish history, to work hard, live an honest, honorable life, and we're first American Jews, and we stand up by America, and to be responsible in their lives, to study hard, take care of their themselves, be responsible, and take care of their families and the children and the community, and live an honorable life.
Sophie, when she grows up, will ask who Victoria Obadiah is, who she's named after.
She's her grandmother.
She's great-grandmother.
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 What was she like?
She's a wonderful woman. If she had a chance to study and to learn, she would do miracles. My father used to say, she is illiterate and she can do so many things. Even that little blanket which Henry has his birth circumcision.
We're friends, we kept our friendship. I helped him come to Canada at the time.
You were in school together.
We were in school together, we kept our friendship. Although the distance between us is far, I'm happy to see that you're well set up and the kids are growing up, and wish you all the success in your life. We're lucky to be where we are.
ما بتالي باسم الخوف